Hogan's plane of glass. So how can it help in your swing? Miss the plane of glass. And I'm going to keep it there. If you want one out of those three, I know I've been there hundreds of times. You can definitely get a little bit more efficiency in your release. You should never break this plane of glass in your swing. Remember, you only need to do a little bit. Arc of his swing working around him. The flatter my swing, the fatter my wallet. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Warren Bennett. Got Trev down there, I'm not sure what he's doing. But welcome to kind of a late afternoon here, but a beautiful one in the middle range at Chesterfield. Today's video, as you can see, is Hogan's plane of glass. Now, I'm sure you know what he probably meant by that. If you don't, I'll give you a kind of a brief overview of it, but more importantly, how it can help in your golf swing. So what can we do in our swing? And there's a few different areas of the swing where this plane of glass can help. So just get the back camera set up. I think Trev's okay down there in the sun. I'm going to tell you all about it. Okay everyone, thanks very much for joining me, and we have to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt what ex-players talked about, but Hogan talked about this plane of glass, I think in his 5 lessons, if not it was around that time. And what he visualised, and obviously he had a golf swing that he probably could layer this onto, but he visualised that you should never break this plane of glass in your swing. So for him, it went through his neck. You should never let your club, hands or both, break this plane of glass, either on the way back and definitely not on the way down. So this is where it can help you in your swing. So you can see the line, which I'm representing the plane of glass there. If you've got a golf swing that your hands and club go a little bit too outside, mine do sometimes as well, is now you're breaking that plane. So now you're going to have to make a correction to get back under that plane, because he liked a shallow swing, because he actually said, the flatter my swing, the fatter my wallet. So he really worked at getting his plane of his swing as flat as possible. Well, that's not really going to work for me. He's different height. I think he was only 5'7". It's a little bit easier for him to swing a little bit more rounded. I'm 6'4", so it's going to be a little bit different. I like to feel my swing a little bit more up and down with some shallowing. I like my hands a little bit more out here with the club shallow. But he obviously felt this club as far back behind him as possible so he can release and get his arc of his swing working around him as much as possible. So remember, he hit thousands and thousands and millions of balls, and he had a golf swing and a pivot where he could flatten his swing as much as possible coming down, because he had a pivot to really sustain that. Probably the best it's ever lived. From here, he really worked at this pivot. His right arm stayed glued into his body from about here. Really worked at this release as hard as possible. So like I said, this semicircle round him. So how can it help in your swing? Well, first of all, like I said, you can make sure your hands and club are going back slightly on the inside, but not on the outside. You don't want this thing breaking the plane, and vice versa, you don't want this thing going too far inside. So there is a Goldilocks zone. So keeping it neutral as possible, you want your hands to be going slightly on the inside and the club following you, not around you. And Hogan's swing was very wide away from the ball, very one piece to about here. I think he went through some incarnations, that's for sure. And from here he really worked, I'm not saying you should do this and this isn't really the video, but I'm explaining his swing, is he really worked on some massive lateral shift whilst the club was kind of, or his wrists were setting back behind him. So he really put this club under a lot of pressure here, kind of really into his left side, but the club's now dropping back behind him, and then he can sustain it with that pivot. But I'm not saying do that at all, because there's a lot of moving parts going on there, and that's quite individual. So for you, what you can do is you can feel this club in your hands going back slightly on the inside, so you can see my left arm's probably covering my right shoulder, hopefully anyway. So you can check that in a mirror if you're, or in a window. You can feel like your hands are going back straight, or you can do it with a skirting board there, put the club just inside it. Remember, you're not just doing it independently with your hands. I like a little bit of coil early on. There we go. Let your arms and clubs follow a little bit. And from here you're feeling like a little bit of setting up, but your left arm's definitely more across your toe plane there. That would be my toe plane, my feet plane. So it's just back behind me a little bit. So I now know that my left arm's in kind of a neutral position. Obviously I'm glossing over it, and there's many backswing videos on the channel, but I'm just explaining kind of what this plane of glass can do. So you're feeling a little bit inside, a little bit across. From here, now you're really feeling, if you've got this over the top break, which a lot of people do, and club as well, casting, is really keeping it back. So a few exercises you can do is a little bit of a lateral shift, allowing this club to drop. The more lateral shift you have with your head still, not with your head moving forward lateral shift, it's your pockets basically, puts a bit of spine tilt on it, great with a driver, and allows this club to drop, you see. If I keep my head there, or someone held my head, or it was against the door frame, and I just shoved my pockets forward, it's exaggerated, my club and my arms want to drop down. That's obviously exaggerated. That's for the golfer who is a little bit over the top and wants to feel a bit more inside. Now from here, if you release, you're going to break the plane of grass away from you. Well, that's okay, because if you're an over the top or across, you need to feel a bit more of that. Let's swing a little bit more neutral, shall we? Let's hit another one. See if I can swing inside. Okay, not too bad. Didn't hit it very well. Let's see what the result of that is. Obviously I don't know, I'm out on the range. But if you're at the range, you can put your phone there and check it. You can put a little pencil, your finger or a club shaft against the screen and see where your club is. Remember, you don't want your club to be ever breaking that plane, never really outside. Unless you're a golfer that's really inside and needs to feel that. Remember, you really want this club to be as close to this plane line as possible. You don't really want it too under here. But I'm always a fan of slightly under, because if you can be slightly under plane, you can definitely get a little bit more efficiency in your release. That's mainly for the club golfer. So backswing, miss the skirting, keep it one piece, bit of coil, feel like my left arm slightly across my toe line. I can feel it, my peripheral in my eye. I can't really see my hands. I'm not out here. There we go. From here, a little bit of lateral, keeps it on the inside. Now from here, actually, I'll hit one. Now I put it on a Patreon video. Left to my own devices, I'm 2 underplane, so I don't really need to worry about that. Post impact, we can really feel from here. Can really feel. I guess it's exiting left. I think I did a video, or got one coming out, where how do you square the club up? You square the club up by this arc. So the golf swing is an arc. Not a chip shot or a bunker shot, but a full swing is an arc. So the club comes from the inside, square to inside. Let's see how well I can do that. So left to my own devices, I know I'm good here, so I'm going to not worry about that too much. I'm going to really put my feel in post impact, squaring up there. Yeah, that felt better. Really felt my club going across the ball there. If you suffer from any heel strikes, this is a really good one, because you're feeling the club coming from the inside, not away from you, but you're bringing it back into square and then around again. So you can put a ball outside here, just outside the ball line, really feel like your club's going to be coming on the inside of that ball. There we go, and that was out the toe. So I'm really kind of slicing that club across the ball without coming on the outside and breaking that plane of glass. And remember, it's Ben Hogan. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt, and we can't all be Ben Hogans, but you can layer a little bit of this feeling and this kind of visual, especially if you're working into a mirror or a window at home, where you can start, right, okay, I'm not going to break the plane of glass going back. Just going to keep it slightly on the inside. Still got some width here, but it's slightly on the inside of my hand plane. I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to keep some pressure into my left armpit here. I'm going to keep the pressure, allow my hands to fall out in front of me. From here, I'm going to square up and turn round. So I'm sustaining that release with my rotation. Generally, I would say golfers have either 1 or 2 of those sorted and need to work at the final 3. I reckon I've probably got 1.5 of them sorted. I probably need to feel a bit more neutral going back. I get a little bit outside sometimes, but generally I need to work on post impact, getting some rotation. I get a little bit flat and slow here. So there's a plane of glass. Don't break it with the hands, don't break it with the hands, keep it back, and then rotate through. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, that felt like my best one, but I pulled it a little bit. Went a bit left on me. Started off okay, but it drew, so got a little bit handsy, which is my fault again, as in my technical fault. Okay, let's really feel like we're going to turn through, keep those hands out of it, post impact. There we go. Beautiful. That was my best one. So remember, you don't have to be Ben Hogan, you don't have to miss this plane of glass, but if you want to miss it, you miss it on the backswing and you miss it on the downswing. If you want one out of those three, you miss it on the downswing. So the most important position would be the halfway down position. If you want to be a Jim Furyk and take it on the outside, which I prefer a golfer to do, to give you that position, happy days. But remember, this video is all about neutral really, if you want to try and keep it neutral. First movement away from the ball is done by your coil. It's not done by independent movement of the hands and arms and nothing's happening. I'm a fan of getting everything moving away from the ball. From here you're setting yourself up to hinge up to the top, slightly on the inside. From here, this is the hard bit, but if your club's a little bit happy to get on the outside, get a little bit shifty. I'd rather the golfer keep their head still and shift, and that allows their hands to drop. Remember, that's what Ben Hogan did. Ben Hogan was one of the best golfers to really introduce some kind of lateral shift into the ball, and then you can sustain that. I can't do that. I'll probably hit it right because I haven't got the pivot to sustain it, but remember, you only need to do a little bit. Right, let's see if I can leave you on a kind of a neutral one. With my best backswing, my best downswing, a little bit of lateral for me, but I'm pretty good there. Okay, really turn through the ball. Get that semicircle coming round. I'm going to break that glass on the follow through now. Okay, that was my best one as well. So remember, you'll probably only need to work at one area, and I would really focus on that one area for you. It may be a little bit more downswing to then match up your follow through. Either way, missing this plane of glass, getting your club on plane, which Ben Hogan wanted. Remember, the flatter his swing, he said, the fatter his wallet. What a great statement that is. So there's many videos on the channel to get this club on in the slot. This isn't necessarily a video for that. This is just an explanation, only a very brief kind of surface one, of what I think Ben Hogan wanted. It's easy to get over the top because we're at this incline plane and we want to go out towards the ball. Ben Hogan wanted his club to go behind him first, miss the plane of glass, for then the forces of the club to get shot out to the ball. But anyway, there's many videos on the channel explaining this to give you the best chance to get this club down to the ball under that plane. Okay everyone, so thanks very much for joining me. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. And if you've come to the channel before, I really appreciate your continued support for a kind of a smallish channel, obviously growing, but compared to the big boys, very small. But grateful to be able to give you some feeling and give you some explanation about your golf swing and the golf swing. Because when you're out there and you're on your own for 4 hours, it's a lonely place when the wheels start going off. I know, I've been there hundreds of times. So hopefully then you can kind of finish that round and then dissect it all after that. Okay everyone, so wow, what a beautiful evening we got here now at the middle range. So from myself, from Trev, and the middle range here at Chesterfield, we'll see you next time. Stay healthy on and off the golf course, and we'll see you then. Cheerio!